Welcome to the Mind Body Temple podcast, your healing space with Dr. Rod. The purpose of this podcast is to bring hope to the patients suffering from chronic pain, anxiety, and depression. I have one of my dear patients, Daniel, here today. He's my guest, and he's going to explain to us how he has gone through this journey of self-recovery and self-healing, and how he is putting together all the efforts to have a better life going forward. Thank you, Daniel, for coming today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rod. It's good to be here.
All right, fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit about your history, how the whole chronic pain started, and how it has affected your life before you got into this journey of mind-body medicine?
Well, I think, the trauma that I had early in life, my body kind of made adaptations to that. And for a long time, those adaptations that my body made, it helped me to survive, to get through those things. But eventually those adaptations, as my life progressed, became a problem. And one of the problems was chronic pain that developed for me.
That's amazing how you link the history of emotional trauma and physical trauma and adverse experiences, childhood adverse experiences, as we call them, and link that to the physiological presentation of that stress and how it shows itself in different ways. One of them is chronic pain. And this is a profound understanding that you have come to, and that has significant effect on the way you would treat your condition. But how did chronic pain affect, once it was developed, once it was there, how did it affect your life?
So, I guess the most profound way that it affected my life was I had a car accident where I was on a bike and I was hit by a car and I was thrown and I was knocked unconscious. And after that, I developed migraine. I do have many different types of chronic pain, but that's the one where I noticed the most significant troubles, because from that, I wasn't able, I was in so much pain and it couldn't be controlled, and I wasn't able to really recover from that. And my life, I had to end up leaving my job, which I was in a second career as a teacher. And I wasn't able to work, and I just had to go to so many doctor's appointments. I was, just trying to figure out what was going and try to find a way forward. And my life just became smaller and smaller and smaller, where before that, I was exercising. I was seeing friends. I was, doing things socially. I was able to do all the tasks of my life that I needed to do, like grocery shopping and cleaning. And bit by bit, those things were taken away, where I had to, get somebody to help with my cleaning. I had to get a PSW to help with my groceries, and on and on. I had all these people, and I just became more and more isolated. I ended up, if I had opportunities to do things with friends, I would shy away from it because I was fearful that it would make my pain worse. But in essence, now I kind of realize from, practicing mind-body practices that it's actually, there is things that I can do by re-engaging in life, and by doing that, I can move forward. So, that I say it just made my life smaller and smaller and smaller,
Yeah, and then obviously that added to the emotional element of your suffering, and can take you to really dark places when you disconnect with others and start to dislike your condition, and then gradually that translates into disliking yourself. And every time I talk about making peace with self with any patient, they say, "Oh, I have a problem with that." All do have that issue. That problem is with all of us, making peace with self. And tell me a little bit about that resentment towards a condition that can translate to resentment towards self, and how important that is to come to the terms with that acceptance, and then planning to move forward.
Yes, I think, yeah, I agree with that, what you're saying, because I wasn't compassionate with myself, and I didn't have patience with myself, and I wasn't always kind to myself. And, and that was, hurting me. That's why, like, now, like, I've learned that, because I really want to give mind body recovery a chance, and the practices, I know now from what I've learned that, my physiology is tied to my mental self and my emotional self. And, they're just inextricably linked. So, if I'm being unkind to myself, or not patient, or not compassionate with myself, it can show up physically. And it can actually make my pain worse. And it can also, like, change how I talk to myself. Instead of being gentle with myself and encouraging, the voices that I'm using to talk to myself, it's just kind of entrenching me in the way I'm feeling mentally, and my pain, as a result, wasn't improving or getting worse.
And you have tried different modalities of treatments, but, individual modalities without a comprehensive program. How effective were those programs that you did, or different modalities that you have tried before you started the mind-body medicine program?
You mean like things like
some medications here, some physio there, some injections here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say, like, medication has some benefit. Some therapies, like injections, initially would have some benefits. I've done, radio frequency. I've done, what's it called? Ketamine infusions. I've done so many different things. However, it wasn't until I started focusing on my mind, my thinking, and also changing my actions, that I saw improvement with those things, where I saw that those things, with the addition of mind-body practices, I was able to quite significantly move forward.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the connection between your thought process, the way you think, especially if it's negative thinking or positive thinking, the effect of that on your emotions, and then the effect of your emotions on your body sensations. And it goes both ways. The effect of body sensation can affect your emotion, and that can also impact your thought process. It's a two-way road that from each side you can take action in order to improve it. And you have been a practitioner of that since we started working together, because you started with that organization of your mind, starting from the baseline of all the movement, that is finding the purpose, basically your why you want to get better. Why is it that what is it that's the most important thing, or among the most important reasons in your life, that for that you want to get better? You have your reason for continuation of your life, and how bad you want that. And then once you had more clarity about, okay, these are the things that are important for you, and in order to get to that point, then now you have to learn the skills, you have to apply those skills to different circumstances, and then you have to come to terms with yourself and start to accept things as is, and then commit to moving forward. And I observed you, it's interesting that usually in chronic pain, we see patients for a longer time, but in your case, it hasn't been a long time that we have been working together, but you have done remarkable restructuring of the whole mind and body. And part of it is that you have been very well educated in this whole concepts of meditation, mindfulness, but then you applied them I call it applied mindfulness to the circumstances. Now, I think at this point, I would ask you to explain a little bit about the whole process of reframing your mind and applying the things that you learn to the circumstances that were causing your suffering, and how you were able to become a very a functional person in the society, while many others with chronic pain, are thrown into disability and are not able to work. The fact that you work and you do actually remarkable work is very important to me. I want you to explain that, because that's the point that will instigate a lot of hope for other patients that we have all around the world.
So, something that happened in my life where I experienced a setback is, my spouse became sick, and I unfortunately passed away. But we had a dog, so that was my family. We call ourselves La Familia Peluche, which is the Peluche family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I carried on my own, it was very important that I give my dog Osito the best life that I could possibly give him. And also, from other times in my life, I realized when I was giving back something that I can give to the world, contributing to the world, it made me feel better. And for me, I used to be a musical theater. In musical theater, I was on Broadway. I did singing, dancing, acting, and stuff like that. So when I left that, I decided to become a teacher. And as I had said earlier, when I had my car accident, that was taken away from me, and I didn't teach again for almost 5 years. But I wanted to use the gifts that I was given, like my singing, dancing, and acting, like to give back somehow, because it gives my life meaning, and it also selfishly makes me feel better. Like it makes me feel mentally better to be taking those positive actions. It's so, it kind of started with me realizing that, with respect to mind body, I had to kind of become an observer of my body, where if I would feel like a sensation in my body, I had to kind of like, I would change the way that I talk to myself. I might say, I wish that I felt more open, or I wish that I felt more space. I wouldn't say like, I try not to say, this pain is really killing me, because it's so easy for me to catastrophize and to feel like I'm not safe and this is never going to go away. And how am I going to get through this day? So I had to try to reframe how I spoke to myself. And actually, from reading your book, I've learned things about, another way is like visualizing, like, for example, like when I have pain, there's things that more pain than usual. There's things that I can do. Like immediately I could just take a breath. Immediately I could say to myself, I'm safe, and then, for me, one thing that really helps me is I imagine in my mind these buttons being pushed, like somebody's pushing these buttons and it's kind of turning off my pain in a way, and then I have this really heavy, it's almost like a lead curtain, and it's going down like whoosh. Or sometimes like they're cutting little wires, and then the curtain goes down, whoosh, and then I visualize like a field with sun shining and birds. And that might sound like a little strange to some people, but with my migraine, that has been so helpful in changing the severity of the discomfort that I'm feeling. And if it doesn't work the first time, I just do it again, or maybe I do a little bit more self-talk, you had recommended an app to me that I could use. So, and it was in line with the practices that are outlined in the recovery practice outlined in your book. And I would go to that and I would learn different skills. I would not only learn about education, about why this pain, why does it exist? Why is this happening for me? But it would give me like different resources. Like it could be like a visualization, a meditation, different things like that. And for me, throughout the course of my life, when I've gone through difficult times, there was a time where I reached like this crossroads in my life, and my life was really quite terrible. And I had to like decide if I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go that way. And then I just decided to turn to not to keep doing the same things that I'm doing, because doing the same things that I was doing every day, it's not working. So I sought out new things that I could do. And now I've learned that they're like mind-body practices, right? So, for me, my prayer life was very important in having a spiritual life, and pairing that with meditation, but also an inventory of myself, like maybe some things that I did well in the day, or maybe some areas where I could do an improvement, like maybe a list of my fears or a list of my resentments. And then, I asked for help with that. And then, then when I'm going to do something the next day, maybe with my thinking or my actions, maybe I catch myself so that I don't go down that path and I can actually keep stepping forward,
This is amazing. Like you have listed a whole bunch of different concepts and skills that are amazing. You can actually write a whole book about what you just mentioned, starting with identifying the main purposes, things that are very important for you, like taking care of the member of family and, paying attention to the education and teaching. And in the list of purposes, I always tell patients that, okay, come up with the list of the things that are the most important things for you, and that you cannot leave this world without having them or experiencing them or keeping them. I can't tell you what they are, but I always give them a hint. One of the hints is that the most important purposes are when the purpose is not related to you, when it's for somebody else, when you are in the service of somebody else, or your action is for, it's a little bit of cheating there, but in reality, it goes to our core essence of our core values, the true self values that we have. These are essential, fundamental values that we all carry. When we do something good for somebody else, we feel great. When we do something bad to somebody else, we feel terrible. The reality is that when you do something good for somebody else, you're getting closer to your true self. And every time we hurt somebody else, we are hurting ourselves 10 times more, because we are getting farther from our true self. And that becomes the stem of a lot of ailments, mentally and physically. So then you mentioned the catastrophization and how to avoid that, how to stop that process of escalation into a dark place, then coming back from it is very difficult. And how when you do these activities that are in service of others, you will also feel healing. And then all of this self-observation, I know some of the listeners that haven't done these visualization techniques, it may sound strange for them, but the brain has many capacities. One of the most important capacities of human brain is imagining things, and that's how invention comes about. We always imagine first something, and then we try to give it some shape and concept, and then we bring it to the real world. So we have that ability of visualization and observing ourselves. Our brain gives us the capacity of observing ourselves. And when you observe yourself, we spend our whole life in judging others. Let's judge ourselves a little bit, but in a positive way. Catching ourselves when we are grasping negative thoughts, and then try to challenge the negative thought and then change it to something positive. That can only happen by catching ourselves when the negative thought is starting. So these concepts that you mentioned are among the fundamental concepts and skills related to the mind-body medicine. My question to you is that now that you have clarity about the purpose, now you have better peace with yourself, and now that you have a whole bunch of different skills, when situations arise now, what is the different approach that you have now? How do you react toward it differently compared to before, that you didn't have? You knew a lot of skills, but you haven't put them all together like you have done now. How different it is now?
I think the first thing that I do when I'm in a difficult situation is I take a breath and I breathe and I tell myself that I'm safe. Also, I do grounding techniques where instead of being in my mind and going with just letting my thoughts get carried away, I might just say, for example, I'm holding this piece of paper. I might just feel this piece of paper in my hand and see what it feels like. I might listen. Right now in the room that we're in, I can hear a quiet fan going. And by bringing myself to the present, I believe that that's when I give myself the chance to practice the mind-body recovery practices. Because if I'm spinning into the future, catastrophizing, I'm not in that present moment where I can do the next right thing to help myself.
Do you think there's hope for other patients?
Yes, I definitely think there is hope because, I've been through many terrible things in my life, from childhood trauma through to many things that have happened throughout the course of my life. And after my brain injury, when I had my car accident, I was in a dark room with darkness for the first many, many months. And then when I was able to go out into public, it was very, very rarely. I would have sunglasses and sunglasses on top of sunglasses and wear earplugs. And if I was in a situation, I would have to put my hands over my ear. I was having trouble getting around physically, not just with the migraine pain, but because of that pain, it exacerbated all pains within my body. I was a gymnast, Canadian gymnast, and then I was in Cirque du Soleil before I went into my other career. So I have, many injuries. I've had multiple ankle surgeries. I've had wrist surgeries. I need 3 more surgeries. I have many herniated discs. I have new discs that have formed in my spine. And even with all of that, just day by day, bit by bit, just by trying the best that I can, not holding myself, not being gentle with the way that I talk to myself, saying positive affirmations, like chronic pain is an illness. I don't have to blame myself for that. Just by bit, by practicing, I was able to get a little bit better. I still suffer from migraines. I still have my sciatica. I still have my knees. I was able to return to work. Bit by bit, I was able to do a little bit more. But I never thought that would be possible because still it's challenging and it takes some effort, but just a bit more than the last day. If I do something today, maybe I can just do 5 seconds more the next day, and bit by bit. And if I'm not able to do it, then it's okay. I'll just get back on the horse and try it again, and bit by bit, keeping my mind open, not having contempt prior to investigation about these mind-body techniques, having an open mind and a willingness to try new things. And if it doesn't work out the way that I want to, I can just search and try something else, but just to never give up, just to keep trying bit by bit, day by day. And by doing that, I'm in a position now, that I didn't know that I could get to where I am, and I'm continuing to improve.
That's fantastic. This is a success story that brought you from darkness into function. You're still feeling the pain, but you are managing your suffering and eliminating the suffering, hopefully completely. And you came out of being non-functional into a very positive, functional member of a society. And that is what I call a success. And I have to congratulate you for it, because you did all the work and I enjoyed observing it.
Thank you, Dr. Ron. I can't let you give me all the credit. After meeting you and my pain doctor who I was with before retired, and I was connected with you. And the thing that I particularly like is into other types of interventions. You also, as a patient, you talk to me about these mind-body strategies when I meet with you. And by joining that together with what you do through your help, you're like a big part of my success, and I'm very grateful for that. So I want to thank you as well.
That's a big purpose for me, to be a conduit for your healing and all other patients. And I thank you for coming here and be a conduit for healing of many other patients around the world, I hope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.